Assalamualaikum and good morning to Surah Hizal. Today, my group will present a topic about the function of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong as the head of state of Malaysia. Our group is represented by 4 members who will explain in this report. We will present about the introduction, the function of Yang di-Pertuan Agong, and the conclusion. My name is Marziatul Alina binti Ali Osman. As the first presenter, will start with the introduction of our title. In Malaysia, the role played by a leading organization is very important to impulse in the formation and administration of an effective and more systematic. One of the main pillars of the country is the head of state. Next, the head of state is the supreme leader of the country, also known as the king, with several roles and jurisdictions that will cover all functions such as legislation, administration, and judiciary. However, the king does not have absolute power because Malaysia adopts a constitutional monarchy system. Next, the official title for the head of state in Malaysia is known as Yang di-Pertuan Agong. The supreme head of state has been given certain roles outlined in various articles of Malaysia's Federal Constitution 1957. This position was created with the approval of the Committee on Rate, who is responsible for drafting a federal constitution before independence of Malaya. Next, the position of the king also appeared because of opposition to the Malayan Union, which is believed to have threatened the position of the Malay rulers. That is why this position is appears. In addition, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is elected by the council kings among the 9 sultans of the Malay ownership in accordance with the rule contains the Constitution of Malaysia. This position will be held for 5 years by each king elected to hold the position. The position of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is held alternately among the other rulers, and this appointment strategy is chosen among the 9 monarchical states in Malaysia. Also, to hold the title, he must not be a teenager. If he is a teenager, then he is not eligible to be elected as the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Further, the election of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong cannot be approved unless there are 5 members of the 9 individuals of the Council of Rulers. Therefore, as heads of state, they have been given some specific roles based on the articles on the Constitution and will be discussed more in this report. Next, we have Nazlan bin Abdul Said, who will explain further. Thank you.
Thank you, Marziatul. My name is Nazlan bin Abdul Said, and I'm gonna explain about executive function. As stated from the introduction before, the role of YDPA has been set by the Federal Constitution. YDPA has responsibility and power under executive function. According to Article 39, executive power of the Federation shall subject to any federal legislation or provision of the second schedule be conferred on the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, which may be exercised either by him or by the office or by the minister authorized by the cabinet. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong is the real executive or governor of the federation. The federal constitution makes it clear that he is the only person who can exercise executive powers in the country's affairs. Again, in carrying out his functions under this constitution, Article 41 and 41A of the Federal Constitutions provide that the YDPA, in exercising its rule, shall follow the advice of the cabinet as well as consider the advice given by the members of the cabinet. Thus, in practice, most of the actual day-to-day work of governing is performed by the cabinet. Moreover, Article 152 empowers the YDPA to declare a state of emergency prior to the occurrence of a situation that will threaten the federations or any part thereof. The YDPA has the power to declare an emergency even if there are only indication that an event threatening security, economic life, or public order will occur. Article 157 empowers the YDPA to make a declaration of emergency if he is satisfied that there is an imminent breach of an event threatening the safety, economic life, or public order that will occur. Let us continue with another function.
Thank you, Nazlan, for explaining about the function of YDPA under the executive body. My name is Izarlyn Daneesha binti Mohamed Izam, and I will be presenting about the next topic, which is the function of Yang di-Pertuan Agong under the legislative body. As we all know, any matter regarding the legislative function is under the jurisdiction of the Parliament. And based on the Federal Constitution 1957, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong also has some function under this legislative body. Move on to the function of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong in the legislative body is mentioned in the Article 44, where YDPA is part of the components in the Parliament. This means that Yang di-Pertuan Agong has some authority in the Parliament. Next, Article 55 Clause 2 and Article 40 Clause 2 stipulated that Yang di-Pertuan Agong has the power to summon the Parliament to be in session from time to time, and His Majesty also has the power to dissolve or prorogue or delay the Parliament. This matter can be seen in the speech which is given by our Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, where he stated that once the pandemic COVID-19 is over, he will be advising the Yang di-Pertuan Agong to dissolve the Parliament. This is an example for the article which has been mentioned earlier, and this shows that Yang di-Pertuan Agong act with the advice from Prime Minister. Article 60 of the Federal Constitution stated that Yang di-Pertuan Agong may address in any House of Parliaments. The royal address means that a public speech given by the monarch, or in our country, is the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. As for example, you can see here our former Yang di-Pertuan Agong give his royal address during the first meeting of the 6th session in the 13th Parliament. Other than that, Article 66 Clause 4 stipulated that YDPA shall give his royal assent towards a bill which has been passed in the Parliament. This means that when a bill has been approved or passed in the Parliament, it must be presented to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong to be given his royal assent. Yang di-Pertuan Agong has 30 days to give his royal assent, but even if Yang di-Pertuan Agong doesn't give the royal assent, the bill will also become a law. Under the jurisdiction of legislative body also, YDPA has the power to remove a person from a membership of the Parliament, and this is stated in the Article 48 Clause 3 of the Federal Constitution. Last but not least, Article 45 Clause 2 mentioned that our Yang di-Pertuan Agong may appoint 2 senators for the Federal Territory of Kuala Lumpur and Federal Territory of Labuan, along with the appointment of other 40 senators of the Senate member. The example senator which has been appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is Datuk Sri S. Velpari. Based on the function explained earlier, it shows that even though the function of Yang di-Pertuan Agong is limited, he also has the authority or the power in the legislative body, which mainly related in the Parliament, since Parliament is the highest legislative body, which consists of House of Representatives, the Senate, and also the Yang di-Pertuan Agong himself. That is all for me for the function of Yang di-Pertuan Agong under the legislative function, and next we will be having Nazimuddin to explain about the function of Yang di-Pertuan Agong under the judiciary bodies.
Thank you, Izarlyn. Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is Adelin Nazimuddin, and I'm going to share the role of Yang di-Pertuan Agong under judiciary functions. As we know, the power of Yang di-Pertuan Agong was provided under the Federal Constitution, which consists of few others than the three main functions, which is the executive, legislative, and now judiciary. It was stipulated under Federal Constitution that Yang di-Pertuan Agong has power and responsibilities under judiciary, which mainly fall into several major categories, such as number 1, the power to appoint judges, number 2, the power to extend the service of a judge, number 3, relieve judge of their duty, and number 4, the power to grant pardon or amnesty. Now, the power to appoint judges, this is subject to the Article 122B, Clause 1 of Federal Constitution. It was provided that by the advice of Prime Ministers and consultation from Conference of Ruler, Yang di-Pertuan Agong has the power to appoint judges, as such the Chief Justice of the Federal Court, the President of the Court of Appeal, and the Chief Judge of the High Courts, and also subordinate judges of the mentioned courts earlier. This illustrates that every judge in Malaysia was appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Next, according to the Article 125, Clause 1 of Federal Constitution, stated that a judge of Federal Court shall hold their office until the age of 66 years or more, with no longer than 6 months after reaching that age, with the approval from the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. This illustrates that not only Yang di-Pertuan Agong has the power to appoint judges, but also extend the service of a judge for 6 months after reaching the age of 66. And now, the third one, it was provided on the Article 125, Clause 3 of Federal Constitution, a judge should be removed from their office due to breach of ethic codes, inability from the infirmity of body or mind, or any other causes after receiving report from tribunal that has been appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong and with the advice from the Prime Minister or by the Chief Justice after consulting with the Prime Minister. Furthermore, another noticeable power that are provided to the YDPAs by the Federal Constitution is the abilities to grant pardons for any offence. According to the Federal Constitution, amnesty or the power to grant pardon that refers to Article 42 Clause 1, it stated that Yang di-Pertuan Agong has the power to grant pardon to offence that has been tried in the martial court or every other offence that has been committed in the federal territories of Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya, and Labuan. As I said earlier, other than functions under three main bodies, which is the executive, legislative, and judiciary, Yang di-Pertuan Agong also has other functions and responsibilities. For instance, Yang di-Pertuan Agong is also the Supreme Commander of the Malaysian Armed Force and was responsible to protect the rights of Bumiputra in Malaysia. This can be seen in Article 153, Clause 1 of Federal Constitution. The special position of the Malays and native of any of the states of Sabah and Sarawak and the legitimate interests of other communities shall be the responsibility of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong to safeguard these interests and rights. That is all for me, and I would like to welcome Nazlan to continue with other functions.
Thank you, Nazim. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong is the head of Islam in the 4 states ruled by the appointed Yang Pertuan Negeri in the 3 federal territories as well in the state itself. In this role, he is advised by the National Islamic Affairs Council in each state. The YDPA also appointed the state mufti in each of the states. There is one Islamic Affairs Council which has jurisdiction for the 3 federal territories. The council is also appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Up next is Izarlyn.
Again, thank you Nazlan, and I will be presenting the last other function of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, which is the Yang di-Pertuan Agong may appoint commission or committees as the advice from either Conference of Rulers, Chief Judge, or the Prime Minister. There are multiple commissions that will be appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, which has been defined again under the Federal Constitution of Malaysia. The first one is the Election Commission of Malaysia, which also known as SPR. This commission functions in ensuring a fair and just during the operation of election. The members of Election Commission of Malaysia will be appointed on the advice from the Conference of Rulers. Next, we have the appointment of member in the Judicial and Legal Service Commission after the consultation from the Chief Judge, or also known as the Lord of Precedents, in the Supreme Courts. Next, Public Service Commission or PSC will be appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong with the advice from Prime Minister along with the consultation from the Conference of Rulers. And other two commissions that will be appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is the Police Force Commission and lastly, the Education Service Commission. These are some of the commission that will be appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong according to the Federal Constitution of Malaysia. I think that is all for the other function of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, and that is all from me. Thank you.
So what can we conclude here? This shows that there are many roles of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong as the head of state in Malaysia. Although the power of the YDPA is limited and mostly only seen as symbolic, this position still has an important role in government, and such limitations should not prevent it from playing a more important role in line with understanding of the Constitution and other democratic principles such as justice, freedom, and limited power. The elected YDPA should be able to carry out its duties in accordance with the laws of Malaysia and the Federal Constitution of 1957 in administering the country. Not only that, this YDPA will protecting the religion of Islam. As Malaysian citizens, we must play our part in respecting the monarchy. That's all from us. Thank you.